for clients, it's understanding what they're looking for. Are they looking for a fast progression to hit a target? So for some, it's I want to get promotion, I want a new job, and there's a very fixed target or goal that they're aiming for. And so then what I offer is tailored to that. It's like, okay, maybe 6 to 8 sessions, we're going to focus on that, and these are the things we're going to do over that time. So it may be uncovering blockages or blind spots that people are not aware of.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Pedro, and today I'm joined by Emma Collyer, founder of Aspire Executive Coaching, who has built her reputation on delivering leadership development that actually changes behavior and culture instead of just ticking training boxes. What drew me to Emma's approach is her focus on creating psychologically safe, energizing spaces where leaders can be honest, experiment with new approaches, and most importantly, translate insight into real action. Emma's work spans 3 critical areas: custom leadership development for managers at every level, executive coaching for senior leaders navigating major transitions, and career development coaching for professionals at key inflection points. Her clients consistently value her ability to design bespoke programs that help them lead confidently, communicate clearly, and build healthier, higher performing teams that deliver measurable results. Welcome to the show, Emma.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Excited that you're here. Okay. And before we get into what you do now, I'm curious how this all actually started. So what was going on in your life, Emma, when coaching became more than just an idea?
Yeah, I guess it started quite a long time ago when I was in the UK, actually working for a large government agency, and I had the opportunity to experience coaching myself. So I had a coach that I was working with, and I was really blown away by how different it was to traditional learning and development or kind of courses that we went on. And that kind of started my personal interest and journey. And then over the years, I kind of had the opportunity to train as a coach in an organization I worked for at the time. And I continued, I guess, with my coaching education and working with individuals and really helping them through those blockages that I faced myself. There's times in your career where you may be thinking, I don't know which way to turn, or you have some challenges. It's like, I don't know who to ask or how to approach this. And at every moment, a coach had helped me. If there was an opportunity to have one, those conversations really led to something. And so that seed, I guess, was planted in my mind of, I want to do this. I want to do this in the future. And we moved to Canada in 2018, and it was still there. And I was still like, I want to do this. And so once we became permanent residents over here, that really then pushed me to go, okay, now is the time. If I'm going to do it, now is the time. And so went through certification, more formal training, getting the credentials to really put myself forward as someone who's credible in that space. And then set my own business up. And so kind of pulling from those experiences and being able to help people move forward.
Interesting how you were exposed to coaching in the UK, then you moved to Canada right now, right?
Yes.
And then you start your own practice in Canada. Now, I want to understand one thing. At what point, Emma, did it stop feeling like a side thing or a calling and start feeling like an actual business you were responsible for? Because there's a shift. Sometimes I'm not sure if it's the first paying client. I'm not sure it's the first invoice, but there's a moment in every coach that is like, oh, you know what? This can actually be a thing and I can actually get revenue from it while doing something that I love doing, you know?
Yeah, I guess I took an approach that I probably wouldn't advise. so I was working. I set my business up, and then I was working for paid employment at the time for a year. So I worked for a conservation authority here in Ontario, and I was finding there was a bit of push and pull tension just in terms of I wanted to do more coaching. There wasn't the space to do that, and there wasn't the opportunity within the organisation. It was too small. So I took the plunge and said, I'm gonna just leave and gonna have to really put all my focus on building a business from nothing. So that's what I did. And it was pretty hairy, I'm gonna say, for the first couple of years, and some difficult conversations around finances. How can we afford to do X, Y, and Z? I'm sure a lot of coaches will probably recognize that as well. But eventually, I guess probably I'm gonna say the last year, 18 months, it's felt like a proper business. It's like, yeah, this is what I'm doing now. And really kind of leaning into that and still making lots of mistakes, still lots of things I don't know how to do or how to approach. But it feels like a genuine business. And I think at the beginning, to your point, it felt like, oh, everything's great, but not much money's coming in, but hey, it's all going to work out. And then the realization of, ooh, I need to do something here and focus on the business development and what does that look like, and. So lots of pieces that I've learned along the way.
I love the vulnerability of it and how honest you are about that. There's always the moment, right? It's like every coach or most coaches I talk to in the show, especially, it's like they are sure about the coaching hat, but sometimes they are not that sure about the CEO hat, the business development side, the marketing, the sales, and all of what it entails. Now, once you were out there helping people, right? Who did you naturally end up attracting? Like, when did you realize, yeah, I guess this is my tribe and the people I work best with, you know? And the reason I asked this, Emma, is because in the early stages of coaching, there's a lot of trial and error for most people. I'm not sure about you, but sometimes we see a lot of coaches trying to help everyone, right? Sometimes they niche down, sometimes they don't. So I wanna hear from your experience. How did that play out?
Yeah, I guess I took a strategy early on to do a lot of outreach through LinkedIn and kind of trying to create in my mind who my ideal client would be, like everybody does in coaching, who is my ideal avatar or whatever. And I was leaning towards people who were in the environmental sector or engineering. That was a familiar kind of background for me. That's the kind of sectors that I've worked with. And so reaching out to individuals in that space. And that did bring clients in. I still have clients I work with in those spaces. But what I came to quickly realize was it's numbers. You need a lot of people that you're reaching out to all the time. You need to be doing a lot of sale conversions. And while I like that, the stuff that I really love is working with teams and groups. And so the leadership development piece kind of started evolving over time. And organizations reaching out to me because of things I was posting on LinkedIn and saying, hey, can you come and talk to us about this? And can you look at what we're doing and see if you can help? And so it's kind of switched over a little bit. I still have the one-on-one clients, but I'd say it's probably like a 70-30 split between organizational work and individual clients.
Okay. Now, if someone ends up working with you today, those potential clients, I'm not sure if the group setting or the one-on-one, right? How do they usually find their way to you in the first place, marketing wise?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is where a lot of people see what I do. I do get a lot of referrals as well from people that I've worked with before, but typically LinkedIn is where I hang out. I do a lot of posting on there. I do a lot of outreach on there, and so that's where people typically would find me.
Okay. Now let's pretend I saw one of your posts, right? And that resonated with me. I'm like, hey, the stuff that Emma's posting is pretty cool. I ended up visiting your website or even reaching out to you And I'm like, hey, how do we work together? We ended up in a call, right? And you can walk me through whatever you feel like it. Like, I'm not sure if the group setting or the one-on-ones, but let's say whatever you pick. Okay. And I'm like, okay, there's alignment. We're talking, there's alignment. I'm like, I want to work with you. I'm being onboarded. Okay. Now, walk me through how that would look like from the client's perspective, working with you, and also the potential outcomes I would get. Can you do that?
Yeah, I guess for clients, it's understanding what they're looking for. Are they looking for a fast progression to hit a target? So for some, it's I want to get promotion, I want a new job, and there's a very fixed target or goal that they're aiming for. And so then what I offer is tailored to that. It's like, okay, maybe 6 to 8 sessions, we're going to focus on that, and these are the things we're going to do over that time. So it may be uncovering blockages or blind spots that people are not aware of, understanding some of the, I would say, organizational intelligence piece, because for a lot of people it's navigating that, and that's a different value that I bring. And then kind of mapping out that with the client in terms of what they're hoping to achieve. So that is kind of how I work through with each individual on a call. If it's, I guess, longer term, more exec coaching style, again, it's digging into, okay, what kind of length of time are you wanting this engagement to be? What are you looking to achieve over that time? What have you tried before? Did it work? What did you like? What did you not like? And just really picking into that, because some people have had coaching, they're like, hey, I had it, it didn't really work for me, but I'm still interested. Others are, I've not done this before, I don't know what to expect. And so it's taking them through some like typical questions or how it would feel for them as well. So those are kind of the things that I would explore on a call with a potential client.
I mean, your work seems pretty involved, right? We're talking almost like a custom experience. So there's the coaching side, and we were talking about this before. There's the business development side and all of what that entails, right? So how do you think about managing your time and energy so the business doesn't start owning you? Because I see a lot of that in the coaching space, right? Wearing all the hats, trying to be everything. Sometimes we see a lot of coaches advocating about burnout, right? Against burnout, and they're burning themselves out. So how do you do that? How do you crack the code about capacity?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a bit trial and error. So, recognizing, I've just gone through a very heavy delivery phase for this last quarter, and I knew that was going to be intense. But I'm now in a nice kind of quieter moment, which I'm embracing and kind of taking that space and going, okay, that's fine. Let's just re-engage ourselves, kind of get our energy back a little bit, but also then sort of planning and being a bit more strategic about what happens next. So I think I've absolutely been there where you're just trying to do everything and it doesn't work. And so then you're kind of pulling back, going, what is really important right now? What is the 1 or 2 things I need to focus on? It's like self-coaching, I guess, a lot of that time. I've also used mentor coaches in the past, to get a bit of assistance and a bit of guidance on what they would do, because often we're kind of sat here wondering, is this the right approach? Is it not? What else should I be thinking about? And so that has really helped in the past as well, just to kind of figure out priorities.
A while ago, I love to bring this up because I feel like it's a sharp blanket analogy. I'm also a coach, but I was back in the day appointment setter / closer, high ticket closer, for a landscape business coach for almost 3 years. But then I just moved to closer. But in the early days when I was appointing my calendar to myself, I was like, if I had a great week, right? Like I got a lot of calls. The upcoming week, I'm going to have a lot of sales calls. I'm not going to have the time to appoint for myself in the other week. So when you have a lot of delivery, do you feel like the next week you're not going to have, for example, a lot of time for business development or marketing because you're invested in delivery? Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And I guess it's recognizing that happens. So then how are you going to make that work? It's like I had a week and I had 4 full days of delivery. So I've got 1 day to do everything that I would normally spread over a week. and I've still got individual clients that want calls. So in the end, I said to my individual clients, I can't do anything this week. Because I needed that one day just to keep everything ticking over. But the business development piece, if it's all on you, does suffer in those periods for sure. And it's recognizing then how to balance that out. I do have a virtual assistant that helps me doing some outreach, so I know that is continuing in the background. But in terms of actually getting on a call with somebody, that becomes really challenging when you're in.
I'd love to tap into your experience a little bit too about one topic that I feel is like a hot one. I really like to dive into. It's like pricing, but not necessarily hard numbers. Okay. It's more about the mindset about it. And the reason I love to do that is because in the coaching space, there's a lot of self-worth tied to pricing. Like, am I charging too much? Am I not charging enough? Sometimes people compare themselves to others and all of that. Now, how do you approach pricing, that topic right now? And what did you have to learn the hard way to get where you are right now?
This is an interesting one. I guess I'm still learning and still evolving with this one. And, I'm asked to put proposals together, and I'm kind of estimating my time and putting a dollar value to my hourly rate that I would be comfortable with. And then looking at the whole package and seeing, having a view of, does this feel reasonable? Does this, what needs to be in there or not in there? So I'm going to say there's an element of guesswork with everything, but there's also experience of previous proposals that I put forward that have worked and people have been happy with, and trying to take that into account, and the extent of the work that's required as well.
Okay. And looking forward a bit now, future wise, what's the direction you're aiming this business towards? Are you thinking more about growth, leverage, building a team, or refining what already works? And what feels most exciting right now?
Yeah, I think right now, even this month, just really solidifying what kind of my programs are, what the products I'm offering, particularly in kind of more of the organizational space, but also kind of really firming up on my methodology and how I approach one-on-one coaching, and then making sure everything is saying the same thing. Because I think what I'm finding, maybe other coaches find this as well, as you evolve and things change, you might not update your website, you might not update your LinkedIn profile, you might not update your Google business profile. And so just trying to make sure everything's saying the same thing. So no matter where somebody goes, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because I think there's a chance then, if you don't do that, it's very confusing message. And I kind of feel like probably right now I'm saying a couple of different things. And so I need to get that even more clear. So I guess that's my immediate focus. And then, really wanting to grow, particularly that organizational piece, and eventually a team as well. So kind of getting that consistency.
And even when things are going well and you kind of browse through it already, like the positioning and keeping everything updated, but there's always something under construction, right? So what's the main thing you're actively working or trying to improve in the business right now?
I guess what I'm offering, so I talked about kind of the bespoke or the curated offers. That is very time consuming, doing something new each time. And so I'm working right now on firming up a couple of different products that are, these can be customized, but this is the framework. And so it's easier for, I'm going to say HR managers or directors, if they came onto my website, they'd be able to go, okay, yeah, this works. I really want to do this with my team, or we've got some cohorts that would be interested in this. And it's easier then. I'm not spending a lot of time trying to do something new each time. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay. You've been around long enough to see some trends come and go, and people give business advice nonstop, especially online, right? So what's something you hear repeated a lot that you think people misunderstand or maybe they overvalue?
I guess there's so many different things. I'm just trying to think of one thing really. Well, obviously the AI space right now, I'm seeing a lot of posts, or maybe I'm just seeing the same person posting a lot. I don't know, but around, let's get coaching on AI. Let's create an AI version of you, and then interestingly, then I saw a post yesterday by somebody in the ICF, sort of saying, be aware, if you're ICF accredited, you're ethically guided in terms of what you share on AI. If you're sharing people's coaching conversations, have you asked for their permission? So I think there's lots of emerging issues or challenges right now around that and what coaching is looking like going forwards. So that, I guess I'm kind of curious to see where that goes.
I had conversations with, I'm going to give you two examples, and I want to hear from you. Okay. First one is a guy that created a chatbot to, his words, replace the coach entirely. Okay. The coaching experience.
Okay. Yeah.
The second guy was like, I have a team of 20 coaches under me, and I will replace them entirely with an AI component. When I asked him about, for example, the accountability aspect, he like, I can ignore Chat GPT or whatever the name of the app is by not having notifications on. He told me he was going to solve that with gamifying it. So what's your intake for AI in the coaching space? Do you see more like of a threat? Do you see more like it could be a great leverage? What's your intake on it?
I think there's a lot of value and there's a lot of opportunity with it. I guess my gut feeling is telling me I wouldn't want to go to a coach and it was an AI generated coach. So I kind of feel like we're still wanting the human, real touch. We still want a conversation with a real person. That's my feeling. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know. But I can't see a complete shift to an AI generated coach being there and responding to an individual that's coming forward.
Okay, so you're basically like me. When you contact customer support and you sense there's AI on that chat, you're like, I want to talk to a person, right?
Yeah, basically, yes.
Nice. Yeah, I see the same way, honestly. I think it's more like a hybrid approach. It can help, especially with the business side, reaching out. But also, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of posts out there that they reek of AI slop. And you're like, is the same person posting, or is it everyone talking the same language, in the same way? So, yeah, I'm right there with you. Now, on the flip side, Emma, what's something boring or not as hyped that you wish more people actually paid attention to?
Generally, or
Well, could be in the coaching space, could be business. It's more like you see out there and you're like, they should be doing this instead of that, or trying be more serious about this.
I guess something that's, well, there's always the social media side, which I actually find quite boring and time consuming. So if you're a coach, that's part of the job. And if you don't love it, then you probably want to have somebody helping you with that. Other things which I'm just listing things that I've got help with because I don't enjoy them and boring, but I did it all when I started. Like outreach, if you're messaging people, it's like it's the same. You're doing the same thing, repetitive tasks if you're doing it all manually. And I was to start with. So I have my assistant who is also doing it manually now. So none of it is automated because I don't believe in that automation piece unless it's, I'm missing a trick here now. Maybe I am. But I think those are sort of those repetitive tasks that you're building something, you need to do it, but it takes a long time and it's really tedious. And those are kind of, for me, two pieces that are in that category.
Let me ask you this, because I see a lot of people in the space. They're like kind of icky about the outreach, right? Oh, I'm going to DM people. That doesn't feel right to me. How did you felt when you started with the outreach? Did you felt like that, or did you felt like, oh, this is just part of the process?
I'm going to say probably the first first 20 messages or so felt really, cringeworthy, or maybe even more than that. It's probably you're doing it for like a month, and then you're like, oh, I'm just doing the same thing. Is this working? Is this working? Probably 6 months in, you're like, I'm just doing it. And if it works, it works. Sometimes you get a message back and it wouldn't be a very nice message, or somebody would be like, hey, stop messaging me, or there'd be some negativity, and it's like, okay, just keep going and not get kind of pushed to the side by something that's not helping you. I think just recognizing that everybody responds differently, I think, to that.
Interesting. Okay. Before we close this out, Emma, if someone resonated with what you shared and wants to follow your work, okay, where should they go?
Yeah, my website, which I'm updating right now. So that's aspireexecutivecoaching.com.
Okay. There were a few things and moments from this chat that really stood out to me, I would say. I love how you're so open about, like, for example, you told me in the origin story that, I'm not, this advice people shouldn't go for it. Like I left my job, I just went full on, with my coaching practice. And at certain points of the conversation, you're like, yeah, keep trying, learning a lot. I love the growth mindset behind it. And you're so honest about it, right? It's the energy of being vulnerable, I think. And I always say this on the podcast. It's like, I think vulnerability is a key asset for a true coach to create and build the connection with their, coachees, because you're asking hard questions at the end of the day, right? So sometimes people have their defense mechanism high, super high, and if you're encountering finding them in the middle, it makes it easier, right, for both parts. It's not a know-it-all energy. You're like, oh yeah, I'm still trying, I'm still learning, so I love that. And also the outreach piece, I think sometimes it's just in the business development side, you're not in for coaching you specifically, right? Because you love doing outreach, because you love social media. Not really. It's about the outcome you provide through your coaching services, right? So, but having that intention backing the tools and the, let's call it, boring stuff we have to do, sometimes it's very crucial because you believe in what you do, and that makes it easier. Now, I really appreciate you sharing the time, and being open with this with me today. It was great having you on.
Thank you for having me. It was a great conversation. Appreciate it.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.